Tonight, Dionne Warwick. She took gospel, mixed in pop and soul, and created a sound all her own. To this day, there are no doubt some people who still believe Dionne Warwick is psychic, a side effect, no doubt, of her decision to host an infomercial. No, Dionne is not psychic, except in her uncanny ability to pick songs that always seem to make it to the top of the pop music charts. Of course, it could be that those songs made it to the top because Dionne was the singer. She took Burt Bacharach's complex phrasings, Hal David's poetic lyrics, and gave them life. Her cousin Whitney Houston puts it this way: when Dionne sings a song, she owns it.
If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, walk on by.
You hear her voice, you don't even question. You don't say, who is that?
She would make you feel every single lyric that she sang. And the sound in her voice that expressed hope, sunshiny kind of sound.
She had a different sound, but a very sensitive sound, a very small sound.
Walk on by.
The way she used her voice, her microphone technique, her breathing, everything about her was spectacular.
She has a haunting voice. It gets to you. It stays there forever. She stood out as a magnificent ballad singer with that very, very unusual voice of hers. She didn't fit any category.
There's nobody, not one person. You could probably ask the world over, who sounds like Dionne Warwick? Dionne Warwick is the only one that sounds like her.
Now you really gotta go to walk on by.
And yet, I am a combination of my entire family, of course.
Marie Dionne Warwick was born on December 12, 1940, in a middle-class suburb of Newark, New Jersey, East Orange. The oldest of 3 children, Dionne was part of a gospel dynasty. Her father, Mansell, promoted gospel records, and her mother, Lee, managed the Drinkard Singers, a group comprised of Dionne's aunts and uncles.
My dad was probably my best friend. He was a pillar of strength, as is my mom.
My grandfather was a minister, and my mother's family sang gospel, and her father was a deacon of the church. And we were there from sun up to sundown.
Our street was virtually the United Nations. We had every nationality, every color, every creed, every religious background.
She's a Sagittarian, as you know, and it seems that they're very strong. And like I said, she started dancing very early. She took ballet. She started to play the piano and whatnot, and she excelled in that also. What she was determined to do, she did. And she would succeed after what she went after.
At 14, Dionne and her sister Delia formed their own group, the Gospelaires. They sang at churches and won first prize at an amateur gospel hour hosted at Harlem's Apollo Theater.
The Apollo was a very important part of our careers, and the great thing about the Apollo, if you could work it there, you could work it anywhere.
The Gospelaires got their professional break while watching the Drinkard Singers perform.
This man came frantically running in the backstage area. He needed singers to do a background session.
They were recording Sam the Man Taylor and Nappy Brown, and they wanted the Drinkard Singers to back them up. And they couldn't go because they were performing at the Apollo.
And, Big Mouth here, we can do it. And we being my gospel group. And he said, okay.
The background voices have never been able to be duplicated. I've tried for years to duplicate them with other background singers and things, but the magic has always been those original recordings because they just had the soul, they had the true feeling.
After school, get our homework done and get on the 118, the bus, and go from Newark Terminal to the Port of Authority in New York, catch a cab to wherever the session was, do our session, and head on back to Jersey.
In 1959, Dionne received a scholarship to study music at the University of Hartford in Connecticut. While attending school, she continued recording backgrounds with the gospel airs. During one session, the 21-year-old met a songwriter best known as conductor and arranger for the legendary Marlene Dietrich. His name was Burt Bacharach.
During rehearsal, he approached me. God only knows why. I must have been singing too loud or something. And he asked if I would be interested in doing more background work and demonstration records of songs that he was getting ready to write with a new songwriting partner named Al David.
One day she came up and she spoke to Burt about doing some demo records. She came in with blue jeans, kind of torn at the knee, and a little scruffy, but she had that fantastic face with the great cheekbones. You know, she was just delicious to look at.
She looked like a star when you saw her with the group of four of them like that. Dionne looked like she had the goods.
Dionne recorded demo versions of the writing team's songs, which were then pitched to the record labels.
So we took that demo, and It's Love That Really Counts, and a couple of others we had done to Florence Greenberg.
She was a woman in the 50s that started a record company with 3 young black artists, you know, that she saw at her daughter's high school.
She was a definite pioneer. She owned Scepter Records. Florence was the mother of that company. Every artist on the label were her children.
In 1962, Florence signed Dionne, then Bacharach and David. They would compose the majority of her songs and produce her albums, while also supplying songs for other Scepter artists.
The first record we made, we wrote specially for Dionne.
Don't make me over. Now that I do anything for you. Don't make me over. Now that you know how I adore you.
R&B and pop stations played the single. Scepter released Dionne's first album filled with many of her original Bacharach and David demos and misspelled her last name. After 3 years of college, Dionne Warwick left school to make time for her burgeoning career.
I think the marriage was incredible with the 3 of them because she gave it that little thing, you know, she gave it that thing that, you know, what they would say, that soul thing, but not just that, it had, you know, that sexy thing that happened with it.
Hello, she can go that high and she can sing that low. She's that flexible, she can sing that strong and that loud and be so delicate and soft too. You could see what she could do.
The former backup singer became a star after only her first single. She headlined at the Apollo and appeared on local and national dance shows, along with other popular acts. As a personal favor to her former conductor, Marlene Dietrich introduced Dionne in her international concert debut.
Anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that I love you. Anyone who ever dreamed could look at me and know I dream of you, knowing I love you.
Oh, great taste. Oh, the gowns that she would wear. Oh, man, and then she had the legs of life.
I went to see Ella Fitzgerald. I went to see Sarah Vaughan. I went to see Sammy Davis Jr. at the Copacabana. I went to see Frank Sinatra. I mean, these were my teachers. These were the people that were doing what I wanted to do. Marlene did give me work ethics. When you get out there, you better do the very best you can. And I never forgot that, ever.
Knowing I love you so. Anyone who had a heart would take me in his arms and love me too.
I don't she still does this, but she would stand and sing hit after hit after hit, not talk between, and she mesmerized the audience.
And I don't care who's been on it before me or who's going to come on it after. While I'm there, it's all mine.